It's the Magpies versus Newcastle. It's the high stakes. It's what supporting your club and cup glory is all about. But will Newcastle turn up on top? Find out here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Oh, brilliant from Shea. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Fabian Shea
All right, evening, folks. As always, trying to sort out my mic. Always changes when I'm just about to go on the show. But I hope you are all well, no matter where you are listening from. Do let me know in the comments where you guys are listening from, what you guys are up to. Oh, I know why. Got to fix my mic. Let me know where you guys are listening from. Are you guys excited? Hello, check. Great. Are you guys excited about the League Cup? Arsenal, Newcastle United. I'm going to be doing a tactical breakdown of the game today. I'm going to first start though with a match review of the Tottenham game as it sets us up very, very nicely for this game against Arsenal. Because look, winning 5 games in a row in the Premier League is no mean feat. 6 games in a row if you add all cup competitions. Newcastle are rolling. I think it's a record for us now. I could have sworn in 21-22 when the season was 21-22 qualified for the Champions League. We had a longer run, but maybe we didn't. Whatever it is, we've broken that now, and we are. And look, it's not by accident. It's not a fluke. It is us playing well and doing the right thing. And I wanted to be able and this segues very, very nicely into what I was planning into a. I want to show you guys a clip because I'm going to do a match review right now. Obviously, before I do the tactical breakdown of the Arsenal game, I wanted to do a match review of our game against Tottenham. But I wanted to show you guys a video from a really, really good content creator, Kaz from Never a Foul. He did a really good breakdown of Newcastle. It's a 10 minute. It's a 10 minute video, but I'm gonna show just certain clips of it because I wanted to be able to. He covers a lot of ground, a lot of areas around Newcastle, and what he thinks is um, making Newcastle tick, and what's really working for Newcastle at the moment. Because it's good to hear another voice, and he's a Man United fan. I don't know if you guys know of Never a Foul. They host an incredible panel of mainly top six, big six clubs, but they've now started inviting of like Newcastle fans, like Geordie Dredd, and also there's a Villa fan, and there's a Chelsea, there's a not Chelsea, there's a Villa fan and Nottingham Forest fan, Joey and others. So incredible show, and I wanted to be able to start off with a review, kind of almost a reaction to his reaction to what Newcastle because. It's interesting. I think his thumbnail was titled "I was wrong about Newcastle. What a player Bruno is." In his match reaction, I want to first start off with it before I kind of cover the ground of the match of the rest of the match reaction for the Arsenal for the Tottenham game as we prepare for the tactical breakdown of the Newcastle game. But before I do that, guys, do let me know how you're doing. Do let me know who's in the house. Like, share, and subscribe. And let me share. Let me first get this video up of Kaz. I think like I said, he covers so many areas, and if I had more time, I would have probably covered the whole video. But it's always nice to hear of other content creators. It's nice to hear other fans talking like about your team, and deservedly so. And to be fair to Kaz, he does outline other players that I've heard him talk about before, especially Botman. Botman, obviously, as we all know, has been injured for a year, and not many people knew how good he was. Kaz has always said, and I've heard him in other at least in other videos, like streams and stuff like that, always mention Botman. And before Botman even came back, he's always said, "Is Botman before the Arsenal game? Is Botman back? Is Botman back?" Because he understood the importance of him, how good Botman is. Not many content creators have done that. So Huge credit there. But before we go into Kaz's review for Newcastle United, Aaron Kane in the house. Good evening, sir. I hope you are well. Evening, Philip. Hope you are well. Aaron, hope you are well. Good to see you. David Veitch, good to see you, sir. This should be very interesting. What's that, David? Is that the game against Arsenal? Well, probably is about the game against Arsenal. But good to see you, David. Hope you are well. Like I said, I'm gonna do a reaction to. I'm gonna do a match. I'm gonna do a match reaction to the Tottenham game before I talk about a tactical preview of the Arsenal game. I'm gonna go into this video of Kaz from Never a Foul, who gives a really, really good comprehensive take on Newcastle and what he feels are the kind of the key aspects of it. I can't go through the whole video for the sake of time, but I'm gonna hit on a few key points that he says and kind of add on to it. So can you guys? Let me make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, you guys can see that. Let me get to the video. Right. So you can already see he's outlined a number of things, what we learned. And this is obviously from the Tottenham game, but he opens up a little bit wider because obviously speaking about Newcastle, I think winning 5 in a row now in the Premier League, 6 in all, including competitions. And obviously, he's got it in the bullet points. Newcastle pressing was super organized, and we always talk about our coordinated press. It's one of our key weapons. And we've talked about how I personally see the ability to press and force teams into mistake as another creative option that teams have. I don't think it always has to be, wingers running down the bylines, sending in crosses or intricate play for the midfield. I believe coordinated pressing, forcing teams into errors is another vital part of it. Obviously, and I'm going to go back to that because he mentioned something interesting that I need to watch the game. Well, I've watched the first half of the Tottenham game, but I want to watch the second half. But before he mentions that, so the second point is obviously Spurs couldn't handle our fullbacks. We always talk about our fullbacks and the importance of them going up. Bruno Gomes, exceptional as always. Tonali is growing on me. He's growing on a lot of fans. Obviously, we've been talking about him for ages. Obviously, as Toon fans, as Newcastle fans, we know all about Tonali. And fair play to Kaz. He's when a player is changing his mind, he's open to saying, "Hey, I was wrong about this," or this is open. Fair play to him. Eddie Howe managed the game very well. He did indeed. I'm guilty of this. I don't often say, and it's usually when I finish the shows and I think about how I did the show. I don't often say myself, "Hey, Eddie Howe, by the way, managed the game really well." I need to start giving him props as well. I need to really give him a kind of a section for that. Sven Botman, top game after being out for so long. Good game from Rusty at times, which is part of coming back after long-term injury. A referee total disgrace, but no one will mention it. I can't remember if he's talking about the Gordon incident. I'll have to think about that. So, talking about Newcastle's press, and we're talking about again in light of this is obviously our reaction to the Tottenham game. We're going to speak a bit more wider about Newcastle, how we're getting 5 in a row and 6 in all competitions, but leading into this Arsenal game as well. The kind of things that we need to continue doing as a team. Kaz mentions this, and let me know what you guys think about this, because now I'm reviewing the games even closer now. He speaks about coordinated press. His take on Newcastle's second half against Tottenham and Man United, when we played Man United, Kaz is a Man United fan, his take on Newcastle is that he believes Newcastle press really well coordinated in the first half and they sit back. His view is that Newcastle sit back in the second half and reserve energy and just invite teams on and try to hit them on the break instead of kind of being 100 miles an hour full throttle constantly, like we possibly have been guilty of before in previous seasons. Let me know what you guys think about that. He feels that we did this against Tottenham and possibly against Man United as well. I watched the first half, rewatched the first half against Tottenham. We're going to watch it again to kind of see what I think of that as well. I feel like if Newcastle, and I'm going to let Kaz talk about it now and see what you guys think about this.
You disagree.
Make sure I just get this. All right.
And I thought Eddie Howe has got this press back again in the first half. I think it's a tactical thing, in my opinion. Let me know if I'm wrong, if you believe it, any of these points you disagree with, agree with, or even you might even have some of your own about some of the players. Second point, especially in the first half, again, Spurs could not handle the fullbacks.
So he like I said, he mentioned that he feels that Newcastle dropping back was a tactical thing. Did I go back a little bit? Because he did say a little bit more about it. Maybe I lost a little bit of what he said.
Newcastle were very much in the game.
Let me see if I can maybe if I can catch a little bit more. If not, it's okay.
Newcastle's press was super organized, and for me, it's the way Eddie Howe sets up this Newcastle team, especially when he goes into like the 4-5-1, sometimes even 4-4-2, and it looks like the other team has got a lot of the ball. And
by the way, very well observed, Cass. A 4-4-2 off the ball, very very well observed, and the 4-5-1 as well that we use, very well observed.
Dominating. But in certain moments, there's trigger presses as well. And you see Isak start, Bruno Gomes loves it. He can't stand it. And then there's Tonali as well. Joe Linnet. It's really hard to get past a Newcastle press because they're all in sync. And I thought, you know what? Something I believe that left Newcastle many weeks ago was the press wasn't as good. And maybe
that's true. We've talked about it before. We lost a little bit of our intensity. Again, well observed.
Because that was of availability. But if you look against Manchester United, you look against Tottenham, especially in the first half, I'm going to call it the first half Newcastle press. You know, even Brentford. I know Brentford, that game there.
That's very interesting. Like I said, he feels that Newcastle are very pressed intensely in the first half.
I believe you lost that game. Was it 4-2? If you look at the first half, Newcastle were very much in the game. You could see that, especially in the first half, the press was there, and obviously the idea was to reserve energy in the second half. Again, we'll talk a little bit about that. And I thought Eddie Howe has got this press back again in the first half. I think it's a tactical thing, in my opinion. Let me know if I'm wrong, if you believe it.
Well, I don't know if you're wrong, Kaz, but I'm certainly going to watch that second half against Tottenham. And if I get another opportunity to watch the Man United game again, and kind of keep my eye on that. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Newcastle are purposely reserving energy? So they were very intense in the first half or periods of the game. And if we score a goal, 2 goals up or whatnot, we then reserve energy, we drop back a little bit, which possibly, what do you guys think is true? Do you think Newcastle are purposely doing that? Because if Newcastle are doing that, our game is evolving in a way that I didn't think we would do. Like, I'm not saying we can't do that, we would do. And Eddie Howe's evolving, and this is the type of thing that teams do that are constantly in the Champions League, constantly in cup competitions, are strategically finding periods, whether it's first half, a way of winning games, win the games and drop back and back themselves to defend really, really well to see the games out and try to control games that way. Some do it through possession. Some people do out of possession, let the other team have the ball, let them work and try to attack the goal, as Newcastle seem to be doing. If Newcastle are doing that, for me, that's an evolution in our game. And I think, speaking now, if we are doing this, we are already training and learning, and Eddie Howe's drilling the team for what could be in the following season when we are in multiple competitions. Where Howe's now thinking, okay, when you're in multiple competitions, when you're in Europe, when you're in Champions League, you don't need to be full throttle, 100 miles an hour every time. And the AC Milan game, especially St. James's Park, is something that's in my mind about that. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go to a final point that Kaz makes about Botman, because it was really, really good. Before I covered the game against Tottenham a little bit more, the stats and everything else, and to show a few highlights. But before I do that, folks, let me see some of your comments here. Aaron Kempf, will be interesting how we set up for Arsenal. So many dilemmas, like who starts next to Tonali? Exactly, because obviously Bruno is suspended. And that right centre-back position, yes, because obviously, do you keep Botman? If he's fit enough to do the third after 3 or 4 days rest, which I suspect he is. Eddie Howe said today in the press conference that Botman's been ready since Aston Villa game. And we know he doesn't like to change his backline too much. If Botman's is fit, does he keep him on? Interesting. Or bring back Share and just regain that balance. I wonder what Howe does. Hopefully, we make the right calls. And yeah, do you play Miley? Do you play Longstaff? Let me know what you think, Aaron. What players who would you play in the right centre back position, Aaron? Let me know, and others as well. And who would you play in our midfield for Bruno? Aaron again. Did I put that on? Here we go. Yeah, I think Bunce has had a major impact. I really agree with this in how we press since he's come in. It's clear pressing as we did was going to lead to more muscle injuries. We have been very clever with the press since his arrival, and that connects with what maybe Kaz is saying as well. No, it does connect with what Kaz is saying. Maybe Newcastle, now that we're seeing this new evolution in our game, I'm really excited to see it. I'm really excited. If this is the case, if this is really what's happening, I'm really excited to see this evolution of Newcastle United, and it's going to go. It's going to reflect on the type of players we bring in as well, I think. But lastly, great comments there, by the way. There's so many things that Kaz said that unfortunately, it's because of time, I'm not able to touch on it. But I want to touch on what he says about Botman, because I don't think not enough people outside of Newcastle fans and obviously the Newcastle world really speak about Botman. And as I mentioned, Kaz has spoken about Botman, not just now, but previously. So let's see what Kaz says here about Botman.
I love Monday.com.
Oh,
What's Monday.com?
You don't know Monday.com? This is Monday.com.
People forget that this guy is just got.
Here we go. What did he say there? I'll skip it back a little bit.
This is what you call talent.
Let me just go back a little bit again.
He came off in the end. I think he was holding his calf.
Went way too far.
Another one in the second half. The goalkeeper, whoever that is, deserves man of the match. Not for me, but hey ho. The other one was Sven Botman, top game after returning from a long injury. And he came off in the end. I think he was holding his calf. I'm pretty sure it was Botman. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for me, that's a top game. And this is what you call talent. Sven Botman is one of the top centre backs, and people forget that this guy.
Exactly. Thanks for mentioning that, guys. He's one of the top centre backs in the Premier League. When I say that, people are looking at me surprised. Sven Botman is one of the top centre backs in the Premier League. If people watch Newcastle outside of the Big Six, they would know that.
He's just got all the tools in his locker to be that top centre back as well. Today, he handled Solanke really well. He didn't have it. Obviously, his partner Fabian Schär, who was obviously suspended, but he led that line really well. He set the example, and I thought again he won't get highlighted as much, but that was crucial because Spurs were trying their hardest to get a goal. Brennan Johnson, fizzing the ball. Kulusevski on the drive, or Maddison shots. He's just trying to be himself in areas where Solanke may be. Go see how he handled Solanke in the second half. He managed him really well. And I just feel like, bit of praise there. And,
Yes, exactly. Mr. Botman getting the credit that I think he deserves. And God willing, he remains free of injuries. He does well. More and more people come out, come and really see how good a player, how good a defender Sven Botman is. I've mentioned previously in the previous show, look, as people recognize Newcastle's people recognize Newcastle's ceiling raisers, our needle movers are obviously Gordon, Bruno Gomes, and Isak. But I would always say that in that shadows waiting to come out is Sven Botman, who's our fourth. And it's only a matter of time once he gets over his injuries. He's one of our ceiling raisers. Absolutely. So yeah, well done to Kaz there. Really good. I encourage you guys to watch this video. It's on Never a Foul. Do check out their channel and do subscribe to the channel. It's a really, really good channel. Now, before I get into the nooks and crannies of that game, I give a match overview of the Tottenham game. Got some more comments here. Got a few more people that have come in. Really good to see you guys this evening. You could be anywhere in the world, but you choose to be here on Toon Tactics TV. It's good to see you guys. Jonathan Shaw, there's defo been a change of pace, but it's helping reserve energy. I totally agree with that. And we're still lighting on the counter regarding what we've changed. No team can be full throttle all game, guaranteed, and burn out. I agree, Jonathan. I also think though it's a skill to be able to do that, because just because just because you as a team want to slow down, it doesn't mean the other team's going to slow down. So you gotta have technical plays. You gotta have the ability to either keep possession, or if you're giving away possession, so you can just make the other team just work hard and try to attack you. You gotta have that. You gotta back yourself to have the quality of players, the structure in the team, and the discipline to be able to defend well and wear the other team out. And if Newcastle are doing that, not only are they recognizing themselves the quality they have, but also have the confidence, and that's an evolution to me, and it's really, really good to see. Well observed, Jonathan. Appreciate you for that. David Veitch, it makes sense to attack in the first half and be leading, then funneling back in the defense to protect the lead and legs, but hit them on the break. Yeah, exactly. And it's good to see. Really, really good to see. And it shows a growth in Howe. It shows a growth in the team, in my opinion. Not David. It's Aaron Kane. For the game, I would keep the back line as it is. Yeah, okay, so you're answering my earlier question as it is. So Botman and Fabian Scher. And I think Howe will make changes to the back line. Yeah, he likes to keep it the same if he can. In midfield, I personally would like to see Miley start because of his ability to pick that pass. It would be great to see Miley. Great to see Miley. Appreciate you, Aaron, for sharing that. David Veitch, we will change formation again next season when we have a ball playing right centre back. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And goalkeeper, yeah, exactly. The ball playing goalkeeper is going to change a lot about Newcastle, about a build-up play, going man for man. It's going to be so intriguing to watch Newcastle. It's great watching us now. Next season, it's going to be so intriguing for me to watch, for all of us to watch Newcastle. More possession and ready for the Champions League with the match play options. Jonathan Shaw, Botman had a brilliant return. He did a couple of slick moves which really showed, and I'm going to show one of them. Showed his class, but I was worried when he went down. Yeah, exactly. But thankfully, he just ran himself to the ground. 110 minutes, Tottenham. I understand Postecoglou. When I saw the interview of Postecoglou, I thought it was AI, guys. I thought it was AI. I didn't think it was real. I didn't think that he was responding like that. And I thought AI, and some fans were just taking the mick, but he really was responding like that. He really was talking like that in the game. Repeating the same thing about all fair and equal. Very interesting to see. It looks like that Newcastle is back. The Newcastle where we're not here to be liked, we're here to compete. Newcastle is back. Except for we've got more players. We've got more quality. It's good to see. Aaron Kane, I think though how persists with Longstaff. Do you know what? I was going to say that, Aaron. You're going to see my tactical board. I do think he persists with Longstaff for ground coverage and disrupting them. It's very well observed, Aaron. For disrupting them, I just have doubts though about his final pass, which can be frustrating at times. And maybe that's what Tonali's there for. I think that's what Tonali would be there. Tonali would be close to him in different ways and kind of doing that as well. So to help with that, to be more incisive in those final areas as well. David Veitch, you know your stuff, team tactics. Thank you, David. Appreciate you for that. Really, it's always encouraging to hear encouraging words, guys. Thank you so much for that, David. Right, I want to go through the overview of the Arsenal game. Keep on thinking because it's North London. It's not Arsenal. It's Tottenham. I want to review Tottenham before we actually do the tactical breakdown of the Arsenal game. And if we get a little bit of time towards the end, talk a little bit of the transfer news that is there. So let me share the FOTMob and share some of the stats from the game and show a bit of highlights as well. Here we go. Right, so Newcastle United, Tottenham 2-1. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Yes, you can. Right, so stats. Right, so all in all, Tottenham had 57% of possession all in all. Let me see what happened in the first half. I'll divide. I don't usually do this, but I'll divide it into the first and second half and see, could kind of feed into that situation of that thinking of, are Newcastle more intense in the first half and purposely less intense in the second half? We'll add a little bit to it just to see what we've got here. Okay. So in the first half, Newcastle had 55% possession of the ball. In the second half, we have 33% of the possession of the ball. Interesting. Our expected goals is 0.62, whereas Tottenham's is 0.60 in the second half, where that's when Tottenham apparently came on strong against us. So this whole conversation, by the way, around, I know Tottenham pressed us, but they didn't have the chance that we had. And I'm going to talk about that. They clearly, we had, I'll get into it. First half, yeah. So 55. First half, we had 1.9 expected goals. They had 0.35 and we scored 2 goals. So we were good money for that. Total shots to us, again, 7. Shots on target, 3 to us. Big chances, 3 to us, 1 to them. Obviously, that was the goal that they scored. Big chances missed, 0. We missed that big chance where, if you guys remember, before Isak scored his goal, Jacob Murphy made that run down the right, again, passed it across, and Isak hit it wide. Again, a different level of intensity. Second half, if you see the same stats, second half, where are you, stats? Here we go. Second half, Tottenham get 67% possession. They get more shots on target. Funny enough, they still have their expected goals don't increase. They got 2 shots on target in that whole second half, where we had 1. We had the big chance that was missed. I don't know if you guys remember. I think that might be the Gordon chance. You know, when he kicked it over the bar, where he bounced to him and he kicked it over the bar? If we scored that third, oh, goodness, that would have been incredible. But that was a big chance. I think that's what they're talking about. Let me know if there's another chance. If maybe I think it's that Gordon chance. So yeah, again, you can see the shot intensity. Even when we're on the back foot, it appears Newcastle do create the better chances. Let me put it all together now, rather than just keep on going back and forwards. Shots on target overall, 13 to Tottenham, 14 to us. They had more shots off target. We're equal on shots on target overall. Block shots, we had 7 block shots to theirs 3. So make of that what you will. They hit the woodwork once. Shots inside the box, despite their efforts in the second half, Tottenham, we still had more shots inside their box than ours, inside their box than they had in ours. Shots outside the box, they had 4, we had 3. Expected goals, Newcastle 2.53. There's a conversation to say that Newcastle deserved to win the game 3-1 rather than Tottenham come back to 2-2. I think that's the bigger argument on the shots, on the expected goals. I know the media a lot of the media are mentioning that. Nobody's mentioning these type of stats. But Newcastle, as you guys can see here, Newcastle dominate all the creative stats here. XG in open play, 2.40 for Newcastle United, 0.92 for Tottenham, by the way. XG set play, both are low, but Newcastle are still higher. XG non-penalty XG, 2.53, 0.94 for Tottenham. All that huffing and puffing, and didn't do much. 1.23 on XG on target for Tottenham, 2.20. And I mean to be respectful. I think I'm more annoyed at the fact that I suppose it's rival shows. When you hear rival shows, everyone's kind of talking like, Tottenham were desperate. They've bought into the narrative that Postecoglou is saying, is that on another day we would have won that game. On another day, according to the stats so far, Newcastle should have walked away 3-1 in that game. On another day, passing 4-6. I will interested. So the passing is 4-6-6 to 3-5-9 to ours. Let me see what that was in the first half. Well, we had the better possession, so we should have more of the passing, I would assume. We did. We passed it 213 times to theirs 176. This is very interesting argument now that I need to do a lot more research into this and watch the games back. Newcastle's intensity and when we choose to be intense, because it seems to me that is the case. And again, well observed by Cass. Accurate passes, yeah, they had the more accurate passes in their own half. In their own half, 160. In our own half passes, 125. In the opposition half, now they had 217 passes in our half, while we had 159 in their half. Again, let me look at this. I promised I wouldn't, but now I'm doing it because this is caught my attention. What was it in the second half? I'm really curious to see. Passes. Opposition half. In the first half. Let me see this. Maybe they did. Oh, that's the second half. So that was in the second half. First half. In the first half, they had. Look at this. Look at this, guys. In the first half, Tottenham had 55 passes in our half, where we had 111, twice theirs. Very interesting. What happened in the second half? Going back to it, they went to 162 to ours 48. It seems to be that Newcastle did go back a little bit. We had also 9 touches in the box to theirs 21 in the second half. But in the first half, I'm going to stop doing this because I'm going to end up staying on these stats forever. But it's just so interesting to see. In the first half, Newcastle had 19 touches to Tottenham's 4 in their box. I'm beginning to think that Eddie Howe and Newcastle have a plan. I just need to watch the game before I get too excited. I need to watch the game. I need to actually see. I don't want to be too quick on it because I want to give credit. Tottenham did push us back. Did we allow them? Man United, with the Man United game, I really believe that we let them have the ball. I know they said they put an extra man in the middle and had legs and stuff like that. I just don't think they had the quality to really do us harm. And what was the other ones? I always like to look. We'll look at Jules in a moment. Defense, tackles 1, 59% to us, 80% to theirs, 9 interceptions, blocks. With all the huffing and puffing, we only had to make 3 blocks. They had to make 7. We had to make 30 clearances. They made 17. Our keeper had to make 3 saves to their keeper, who had to make 2. Jules 1. 64 to them, 54 to us. Ground jewels, 34 to us, 42 to them. And aerial jewels, again, they 52, 22 to them, 48 to ours. Successful dribbles, 41% to us, 55%. I'm going to go back. I want to see what happened in the first half to the jewels. What was the jewel situation in the first half? Jewel situation in the first half, 20-25, so 50-50. Ground jewels, 49, very close. 17 to us, 18 to them. 1, so 49, 51%. Aerial jewels, we won 8-7 to us. Successful dribbles, so really close, really, really close in that second half. I just think we had that kind of maybe that better quality in that second half. Where is it? So, okay, so all in all, and I'm going to look at the final one. So that was the jewels. Was that everything? Yeah, we had 4 yellow cards, which is a good. It's beginning to be a good sign, which shows our intensity in what we're doing. So Newcastle did really, really, really well. And I'm like I said, I'm going to study a little bit more the second half against Tottenham and see if Newcastle intentionally are reserving energy, or whether it's Tottenham forcing us back, and see if this is a pattern that Newcastle are doing. I want to show a few highlights in the game as well, but before I do that, let me read your comments and see what you guys are saying, what you guys are talking about. What do you guys make of the stats so far? What do you guys make of the overview? Jonathan Shaw, Defo hope Miley starts. He's been patient and he is ready and full of talent. He never lets us down in huge games last season and showed his quality. I agree with that. Mighty Mag, good to see you. Mighty Mag, evening Phil and Almighty Mag, really, really good to see you, sir. I hope you are well. Aaron Kane, Aaron says the Bafka, one final performance before his move to Saudi, and we can sneak a 1-0 win. That would be dramatic. And I never mentioned this, and I keep forgetting this as much as I always forget to mention Eddie Howe. Some of Dubravka's distributions and on the ball, phenomenal. Some of the passes that he did to get us out of pressure, phenomenal. Really, really good from Dubravka. Appreciate it. And he's finishing his. If this is it after 7 years, he's finishing his career at Newcastle on the high. He mentioned I think in an interview or something like that, his kids are born in Newcastle. They're Geordies. You know, it's amazing. I know that we want to grow. We are going to grow as a team. We're going to get another keeper and a better keeper. But you know what? He's been there with us. Like, God bless Dubravka and his family. David Veitch, love your views on player development to beat PSR. And I believe we're going after the likes of Trafford. Yes, I see that one. McAtee and Diblin with Premier League experience, but cheap and slightly underrated. Do you think... I saw the McAtee stuff, and he's a left midfielder / left winger, very technical on the ball. Do you think he's left-footed, I want to say? Correct me if I'm wrong, David. He's left-footed. And I wonder if they're looking at him to play on the right or on the left or just across the midfield. Like, where do you think... David and others, where do you guys think Mr. McAtee would fit into our squad? I'd be really interested to see. I rate his talent though. Jonathan Shaw, I'm pleased we never got. Yeah, so am I. Not in that way. That's not true. I won't be as deep as that. That's not true. Because I remember at the time I really wanted him. Who knew that this would happen now? It's difficult to say I'm pleased we never got Maddison because we didn't know. It depends what the environment. I think the environment in Tottenham is different to the environment at Newcastle. I really think that. So I don't know. I can't say that just yet. But I'll read the rest of your comment. I'm pleased we never got Maddison. I'm sure Howe would improve, but exactly, you said it, him, but he hasn't pulled up trees at Tottenham. And I think there is a mentality problem at Tottenham. Jonathan Shaw, these stats make a mockery of Andrew's whinging, saying that they'd have won if all things were equal. There's a bigger argument, as things stand from those stats, that there's a bigger argument that Newcastle should have won the game 3-1. If all things been equal. Sophie B, welcome Sophie B, hope you are well. I don't know if it's your first time here. I feel like it's my first time conversating with you. If it is your first time, God bless and hope you are well. I hope you enjoy the show. Apologies if you've been on here before, but I hope you are well. Sophie B, hey Philip and all, hope everyone is well. We are very well and welcome Sophie B. Like I always say, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here on Toon Tactics TV, and you are most welcome. Sophie B, I can see us taking this game more desire, and Arsenal looks slow and lethargic. Last couple of games may be tiredness, but I'm here for it. So am I. I don't know if you know. I watched the Brighton game, Sophie. I don't know if you've watched it and everybody else. That Brighton game reminded me a little bit, not a whole lot, and I confess I haven't seen the stats to it, so I could be wrong to it. A little bit of how we played against Crystal Palace. Not as bad. Obviously, they got shots on target and stuff like that, better than what we did, but they showed the same hesitancy in the box and outside the box for me. And now confidence is part of that. I don't know if they're lacking confidence. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but yeah, I agree. I think there's something going on a little bit Arsenal. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into it. I don't know. David Veitch. Not sure where McAtee plays, but he is the type of player who fits our development plan. I totally agree. Yeah, and evening to Sophie. All right, so I want to see a few of the highlights before of that Tottenham game to kind of highlight just how well we did play. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Excuse me. Yes, you can. Now, there's a couple things. You know what? I wasn't going to, but I wanted to show the Tottenham goal because it was a good goal. And what I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys see it as well, less and less teams are able to get into our box. Even now, if you guys can see it from here, in terms of with the ball, they're having to be outside of our box because we're so well organized. You got Joe Linton here together with, I want to say Hall, but it could be, I think it's Hall. So yeah, Joe Linton and Hall already. So you have to go past them two before you even meet Tonali and others. So what they're doing instead, if you guys can see, they're just hitting it early. And it was a great goal anyway. Obviously, Solanke against Botman there, 1-on-1. And Botman went on to improve from there. But even then, I think it was it's not impossible, but it was a really, really good ball. But let me know what you guys think. I think this could be the way forward for other teams when they go against us. They might just think, forget trying to get into Newcastle's box. Just hit the ball early and try to get your head on it. Could that be the way forward? Could that be the way that the other teams now come against us and say, this might be the way forward to try and get goals against Newcastle? Let me know what you guys think. Now, before we get into the first Gordon goal, I want to show the Gordon chance at 1 minute 14 because it was so well worked. And I think this is the one where we saw Botman, and this is why we missed Botman. Oh no, this is the Gordon. Is it the Gordon goal? I think it's the Gordon goal. I got it under Gordon chance. Oh no, it's after the goal. So yeah, it's the goal actually. There's a Gordon chance. Maybe I missed it, but it was a Gordon chance. This is him blowing a kiss to the Tottenham crowds. I'm sure they were giving him stick. Right. And Kaz talked about this, our coordinated press. We're always in sync in how we do it. It is another way Newcastle now create goals and do goals. I look at this pressing game. I look at just not just for Newcastle, but for any team who's pressing, who have a good coordinated press, whose teams are in sync. It's another way to create goals. Or even Henry talked about it, where how when Guardiola talked him into about pressing from the front in Barcelona, how he said to him, look, we're literally like 10, 20 yards away from the goal. Rather than being 50, 60 yards away from the goal. Look at it that way, and you've got your teams around you. And Isak, I think, kind of referenced to it as well, when he's got his players around him, and when this happens, you're more and more involved. And this is why you learn as a striker and as attacking players to love to press. Look how far. So you got, obviously, we press from the front. Isak and Gordon at the front. Joe Linton there on the left. He was clinging on to. He was shadowing Kulusevski like nobody else. Bruno pressing up. They went to press up. Murphy's there pointing towards Archie Gray, who's got it. Isak gives chase. Now, Archie Gray is a really good player. He will do well at Newcastle. He gives it to Sarr. From the moment he gives it to Sarr, 3 Newcastle players are on him. Sarr, for me, is not quick enough here. He's a little bit too laxy days ago. Now he gives the ball to Bergman. We know what happens there, but the easier pass is right next to him. Is for me anyway. Is here to Jed Spence. He gives it to Bergvall, which actually worked out for the better. He went for the more difficult pass. They beat the press, but look how quick Joe Linton is in the press. Now they said this is a penalty. A free kick. I don't believe in it. Like, his hand is in a natural position. What do you want him to do? Is Joe Linton expected to run towards you to try and tackle you with his hands up like this? Who does that? Like, it's even worse if he does that. What if you kick it up and he hit like that? That's unnatural positions. I think Byrne did that later on. That was close. He could have got a second yellow for that. But this definitely wasn't for me. Look how quickly Bruno gets onto it. Gordon is on his bike, and Radu Dragosin is crying. He's like, "Oh, I can't believe it. This is the nightmare that I had the day before, being one-on-one with Gordon." I don't know why. I think it's Sarr has got his hand up, or it's Basuma. He's got it. No, it's not Basuma. Excuse me, it's Sarr. And no way is Gordon offside. Gordon, great first touch. Not too bad, actually. Yeah, not too bad first touch. And a lovely, lovely Gordon finish. That's a Gordon finish. Lovely Gordon finish. Really good coordinated press. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to talk about, before I read Isak's first chance before the goal, because it's it's literally a warning shot to Tottenham about what Newcastle can do. And some of our approach play was really, 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 really good to watch. Is this one it? Yeah, I think it was from here. How far can I go here? Okay, so that was the first chance. So this is the chance before the Isak. This is the Isak chance. We know when he is it here? Is it here? When he this is the Gordon chance. I want to talk about the Gordon chance as well. Guys, I want to talk about the Gordon chance, sorry. And then I'll talk about Isak. I want to talk about the Gordon chance because I love the press. And this is why we missed Botman. Look out for this, guys. So this time we've gone man for man. So Tottenham have got no choice but The keeper has to kick it out. Isak closes him down. And because you got Tonali here on Sarr, you got Gordon here on Bergvall, who are really, if they really wanted to kind of stretch Newcastle, I think those two should have parted and just spread out like that and force us wide. They didn't. They made it easier for us to close down, in my opinion. But we've literally gone man for man. So the goalkeeper goes long, and look how quickly, I don't know if you guys can see it here, Botman shoots out, and this is why we missed Botman. Bang! Straight onto, I don't know if it's Kulu who's on the ball, but he dispossesses him. Quick time. Gets the ball off to Bruno. Bruno, on the half turn quick, and this is why Bruno in the advanced A is so crucial. Turns quick, bang. Onto Isak, quick, half turn, bang. Gordon's on his back. It's so hard to stop Newcastle when we counter press like this. It's so hard to stop for any team to stop Newcastle when it's first touch, second touch. It's so hard for any team to do that. And straight away we're on their back. First touch, second touch. And this is what I'm saying, chances created, Mr. Ange. I don't know if you missed these opportunities that Newcastle had. Like, it's very fortunate. Like, the scoreline wasn't a bit different for you in that first half, but I just wanted to show that chance of Gordon before I get into the Isak chance. Let me know what you guys think. Before I go to Isak chance and his goal, let me read your comments, see what you guys are saying about the highlights so far. Are you enjoying this review so far? Excuse me, Sophie B, first live. Oh, great to have you, but have watched previous shows after love your takes and your views. Appreciate you for that, Sophie. Really encouraging. Thank you so much. David Veitch, James McAtee, main position, attacking, midfield, other positions, central midfield, which I think we could do. He'll be a good upgrade to Longstaff, I think, possibly. Midfield right wing will be an inverted winger if used on the right. Well, Mr. McAtee, if you're looking for minutes, I think if anybody wants to play on the right, if there's any talented young player who wants to improve, who wants to evolve, and happens to have a left foot and can play on the right, Newcastle is the place to go. Newcastle is the place to go. Hunter, great to see you. Hope you're well. Thought Botman was our best defender other than the first 15 minutes. Yeah, and we can forgive him for that. Yeah, we'll just show these highlights there. Really good at closing down. Aaron Kane, if anyone correct me if I'm wrong, but I see the team differently than previously. Instead of playing the emotion of the game, pressing, we are playing the game like a top team in phase. This is what I'm beginning to see. I'm just trying to hold myself. I'm trying to be cautious. I'm like, if this is the evolution, like, are we seeing it? Like, I'm so excited for the future. David Veitch, McAtee is a left footer. Okay, so now this is beginning to make sense to me. That particular link is beginning to make sense to me. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Jonathan Shaw, that was brilliant balling. Howe would have studied it and already be working on ways to avoid it in the future. He's meticulous work. Yeah, it was. I don't know how you stop something like that unless you obviously stop the ball from coming in the first place. But yeah, Sophie B, I think, excuse me, I think it was just a bit of rustiness from Botman. Yeah, I agree. He hasn't played Premier League football in 10 months, and that was in the first 10 minutes. After that, he was superb. He was. And I wonder if he plays in the Arsenal game, how much different he would be. Aaron Kane, I still maintain we will be looking into the European market for players for that right wing. Saw a video on Kubo. Yeah, is that from The Athletic, who ticks all the boxes. He's a player I would love feeding Isak. I think they were teammates before from Real Sociedad. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that could be something that could work. The price would be 50 million, I think. Jonathan Shaw, the problem with that goal is the handball rule. If it happened to us, we'd be peed off, but then find out it's now okay. But why is it different in Europe? Should be same rule worldwide. Should be. Or should it not be? It depends if everyone can agree what the rules are. But I see what you mean. I think it's a legit goal, and I'm happy. I'm happy for it. Now, final highlights I wanted to show for Isak. Guys, keep sending your comments. Really good to hear from you guys. Really good takes. I wanted to show the first Isak chance because we gave Tottenham a warning about how we plan to break them apart. They did not listen. So this is the first Isak chance, but I want to kind of show how, kind of highlight our approach play, which again is really, really important. So that's the first chance. So look, and make sure you guys can see this. Yes, you can. This is on the right side now. As you guys can see, Tottenham are set up pretty well. Look, I mean, how many players they got back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 5 players back on that right wing position. That's Tonali now. He's shifted himself to that right close to. He's doing it a number of times in the game, next to Murphy, next to Livramento there. You know, so they're thinking, Tottenham are thinking they're pretty safe, that we're not going to get in there. Look how many players, look how many Tottenham players there are. You know, they're not going to get in behind us, but we worked it really, really well. Tonali gets the ball, brings it out to Bruno. So now Tottenham are coming out a little bit more. They're coming into closing. But in doing that, they leave space behind. And this is why Bruno's so key to us, because he draws so many players. Look how many Tottenham players are drawn to him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tottenham players are drawn to him. Isak then, if you guys can see, makes a move here, makes Archie Gray focus on him. And again, takes him out the picture. This is now, just in that little motion there, Jed Spence and Jacob Murphy are now in a one-on-one position. We've just gone, within 2 seconds, a situation where 5 Tottenham players were focused on Jacob Murphy, and he wasn't going to get anywhere. Within 2 seconds, by the ball going to Bruno Gomes, we've got those 5 Tottenham players focused on Bruno Gomes. And what does Bruno do? And this is the pass. This is another key pass. This, you know, this is the pass before the assist. Again, this is what happened against in the Villa game. And there's so, and this is why Bruno is so key, is so incredible in this part of the play. Remember how, especially in the beginning of the season, and really in the season we got qualified for the Champions League, where we drew like 14 games and Bruno was in the 6th, and we said we need a guy to unlock the low block. We need the guy to low block. This is a low block. I don't know how many Tottenham players are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Yeah, there's 10 Tottenham players. It's a low block, mate. So this is how you unlock it. And look at that, through that gap, Isak, and because if Isak doesn't make that, remember I said that Isak makes that little shoulder move, he drew Archie Gray away. Bergval's watching Bruno, 5 players on him, Kulu's on him. Now isolates Jed Spence with Murphy, and key pass into that area, 1 touch, and Murphy's excellent at this. Oh, I forgot it's a replay. It should have been a goal, but that was the warning to Tottenham. That was the warning to Tottenham. It was essentially saying, it doesn't matter how many players you've got back, we can still open you up. I don't know if Andrew remembers this, when he was angry about all things being equal. All things being equal, that goal goes in. Apologies. I am a little bit annoyed about this whole thing of woe is me. And then comes the goal. A little bit different because we've gone from the left side to the right side, but it's pretty much in motion. It's kind of, I don't know if we caught them in transition here. We might have. We've got Tonali, Bruno, Isak bearing down on them. Jacob Murphy again offering that place, making Jed Spence has gone in, but he can't approach Tonali because of that run from Murphy over here. Tonali gets on the ball, and we're talking about what if obviously not having Bruno for the Arsenal game. Tonali makes good decisions, very good decisions or any part of the pitch, and especially in the final third. 1 touch, 2 touch, gone. Doesn't waste too much time, and Murphy is very good at this. He stands the ball up, but in the first 10 yards, his acceleration pace is very good, and he backs himself to it, takes it away from Jed Spence. He has no chance. Bang, across the pitch, goal. We warned them. We warned them in the first half. This is what Newcastle can do, and we won the game. And in my estimations, we deserve to win the game. So guys, what do you guys think of that? Before I go into the tactical preview of the Arsenal game, let me know what your thoughts, your feelings are. I'm going to take a drink of water because I'm parched. I'm parched talking about just how good Newcastle played against Tottenham. I'm so keen to see if Newcastle are intentionally reserving energy. That's something new from the boys. That is something new from the boys. Before I get into it, read a comment from Sophie B. Where's my water? And I hope you guys are staying well hydrated as well. Fix my mic. Where is my mic? Here we go. Right. Gonna go on to the Arsenal preview, but before we do that, I'm gonna read one comment here from Sophie. Once I fix my mic. Ugh. It's all going off here. Oh gosh. I'm gonna leave it alone. I am going to leave it alone. There we go. What is going on? Right. So, Sophie B, the build-up play has largely improved, giving Bruno the freedom to unlock defense and have Tonali as the cover with the pace to get back has changed the dynamics of the team. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well observed there. Well observed there. Jonathan Shaw, Isak now worth at least 150 million. And Fat Man Ashley bought two for 132. Yeah, can you believe that? Oh, goodness. It shows how crazy money has become in football these days. I agree. Jonathan Shaw there. Have a beer, Philip. That's how I'm hydrating. I hope you guys enjoy yourself. Have a beer and watch Toon Tactics TV. Right. Tactical breakdown. Newcastle versus Arsenal at the Emirates, folks. Big game. Massive game for the Toon tomorrow. Absolutely massive. What's you guys' thoughts on it? What do we do? How do we come away as victors in this game? As always, folks, you know that I like to study the opposition first, so we know what because we know all we know about Newcastle United. Well, we're learning we've just learned what we know about Newcastle United. We're growing all the time. We're Toon fans, but it's important to know your opposition. It's important to know who we're playing. It's important to know their strengths and how they're doing as well. So this is Arsenal, obviously. Now I can't see all of their form, but I think they're actually unbeaten. They're actually unbeaten in 14 games. I know that we're enjoying life, winning 5-6 games consecutively, but Arsenal are actually unbeaten in 14 games. Also, they've out of their last 5 games, they've won 4 out of 5, where they won 4 in a row. Obviously, they had a draw against Brighton. They beat Palace in the league and in the League Cup 3-2 in the League Cup, I think that was, and then 5-1 at Palace again at Selhurst. That was a really good game. 1-0, they beat Ipswich 1-0 at the Emirates. Before beating Brentford, I watched that game. Good game as well. Before beating Brentford at the G-Tech, not many teams, we tried that, we couldn't do it. Arsenal beat them 3-2, and before they drew away to Tottenham 1-1. So Arsenal are coming into really, really good form, just like we are. And throughout the stats that I'm going to show to you guys today, again, show really close stats with Arsenal as well. Now, they've got a few injuries. Obviously, Saka's injured. Nwaneri, who scored in the Brighton game, is also off for a few weeks. So it'll be interesting to see who they play in the right. I think they'll play Martinelli on the right and they'll keep Trossard on the left. But as you guys can see, obviously, Trossard this so far has got 5 GA, 2 assists, 3 goals this season. Jesus is going to be up front. I don't know where Kai Havertz is. Was he on the bench or if he's injured? I can't remember where he is, but he's got 3 goals so far this season. And Nwaneri's got 2 goals so far this season. So the current front three, they've got goals, but they haven't got that many goals and assists at the moment. Mainly because they're not, I don't think they're usually their main front three. Obviously, Saka would usually be playing on the right. Havertz would be through the center. And Martinelli would be on the left. Martinelli was on the bench for this game, I believe. So was Ødegaard and so was somebody else. I forgot who it was. So I think Mr. Arteta was reserving his team as well. Their midfield was Rice, Jorginho, and Marino. With their guys at the back here of Partey, Saliba, Gabriel, and Calafiori. So let's look at their stats to kind of give us an idea about how what Arsenal are good at, what they may need to improve on. Kind of give us an idea of what kind of team they are and what they're doing. Is Kai Havertz injured? I don't know if anybody in the chat can check up on this. Is Kai Havertz injured? Where is it? Well, maybe it will show in the head-to-head. So far, FOTMOB rating, if anybody goes on FOTMOB, it rates the team how they're doing overall in the season, taking into everything in context: goals conceded, goals scored, duels won, all these type of things. So overall, FOTMOB rate Arsenal as the 4th best team in the league. Oh, actually, let me first see when Arsenal are in the Premier League. So they're 4th, obviously, according to FOTMOB. Where are they in the table? Arsenal are 2nd, obviously, in the table. With 39 goals scored, 18 conceded, really, really good. 21 goal difference and 40 points. So really, really good. They've got 11 wins so far this season, 7 draws and 2 losses. Obviously, we're currently sitting in 5th. Also after 20 games, where we have 10 wins, 5 draws and 5 losses, with 34 goals and 22 goals conceded with a plus 12 goal difference. So really interesting. Obviously, we have beaten them at home at St. James's Park at 1-0. So we can do it. And that's with Mr. Saka playing as well. So let's go back to the stats that kind of get an overview of Arsenal. They've got a FOTMOB rating of 4th at the moment, which is interesting. They're currently 2nd in the league, with ourselves in 7th as well. So that's interesting. Goals per match, Arsenal are 3rd. So there's a lot of talk about how Arsenal score their goals or set pieces. I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. I've never seen the problem with teams scoring from set pieces, corners, or whatever. Whether it's corners, free kicks, set pieces, and people making the big hype of it. Actually, most of Arsenal's goals, I looked at the stats, is mostly from open play. If anybody thinks we're going into this game and they think that the only way Arsenal can score goals is through set pieces, we're kidding ourselves. It's not true. Arsenal, most of their goals are from open play. And they've scored more goals than we have at the moment as well, and conceded less. So there's this narrative that Arsenal aren't, scoring goals and stuff, which is not true. Again, the number one for goals conceded per match, 0.9. I think we're like 3rd or 4th in goals conceded, 1.1 to us. That's hopefully I'm sure we can lower that as well. So doing well there. They're 5th for average possession, so they do keep their possession. I expect Newcastle Arsenal to have the lion's share of the possession. I don't know about lion's share, but certainly a little bit more. Yeah, maybe the lion's share of the possession in this game as well. They've got 7 clean sheets. We've got 7 clean sheets as well. Now, this is the interesting part about Arsenal. They've got 35 expected goals. They've scored 39, which gives the impression of they have, according to XG, which is shots, the quality of shots they're creating matching the actual goals they're scoring. So if you match the quality of their shots to the goals they've scored, they've got less quality of shots compared to the goals they scored by 4, which kind of not indicates that they were lucky, but that the goals they scored 4 goals that were incredibly difficult to score, which you wouldn't normally score. So kind of gives you the impression that they're perhaps overperforming in terms of the goals that they've scored, but they're still scoring a lot of goals. Shots on target per match, they're 5th in the league for that. Newcastle quite low for it, I think, as well. We're not very high for it. But I think it's because we're still making up for the first, some of the, like, I don't know, maybe some of the low number of shots that we had previously. We're 4.6 typically per game, whereas Arsenal, like I said, are 5th in the league of 5 shots. So not too, I mean, you're probably going to expect both teams to have 4 or 5 shots on target, or a little bit less because of our defenses. Maybe both teams will have between 3 to 2 shots on target on each other's goals in this game. Big chances created. They're 3rd in the league. Again, they're a creative side, 67, really good to them. Big chances missed. They're 5th in the league for that, so they're missing a few of those as well. Accurate passes, they're 7th. Accurate long balls, they're 19th. They don't do too many long balls. Accurate crosses per match, they're 5th in the league. So we've got to watch out for that. We saw what Tottenham did, and then especially those cutbacks that Arsenal do as well. And the people they've got that are able to get onto the end of those, we have to stop them from getting balls into our box. They've received 2 penalties this season. Touches in the box, I'm always curious about that. They're second in the league for that, which is for me is a strong indicator of a team's dominance. Man City are still number 1 in the league despite their form for touches in the box. Arsenal are second in the league with 740 overall. We are way behind them by about 100 or so. But again, I feel like we're making up for it. We're exactly on the same as Brighton, 588 each, which is incredible after 20 games. So look, Arsenal are an excellent team. Corners, defensively, XG conceded, so that's quality of shots conceded. Them being 19th is very good. It shows you just how good the defense is. You're not going to get many quality shots against them. I don't think we're too far from them, actually, because with defensively, both of our teams are quite good. Liverpool obviously are there as well, so we're in very good company. We're just below Arsenal, obviously, who conceded 22 goals this season. They've conceded 19. Then it's Arsenal with 18. Forest with 19. Arsenal with 18. Liverpool with 19. You're not going to get many goals against. So we're in very, very, very good company. So both of our teams, defensively are very good. Newcastle are on their way back in terms of the offensive side of the game as well. Interceptions, they're fairly low for that as well. I think it's because they don't have to do much defending, hence why their interceptions are so low. They keep their way of intercepting, or their way of avoiding having to intercept the ball, essentially cutting off passes and in blocking shots or whatever, is keeping the ball. So you're gonna the defensive side, because they use the ball possession as a way of as a defensive tool. They limit opposition's attacking them, shots on target, interceptions per match. That's the defensive tool. That also can be, and so that's their strength. That can also be a weakness, and it's part of the thing that they've been criticized for. That they're oftentimes not direct enough as well. So that's interesting. Successful tackles per match. They don't have to tackle the ball. They're 15th again because they got so much possession. They're very long clearances because they hold the possession. They're very, very good at winning the ball back in the final third. And this is where Newcastle's, I think, will miss Bruno Gomes a little bit. Arsenal are third for possession, 1 in the final third. So we're going to find out just how good Tonali is in his press resistance. We're going to be quite dependent on him, especially when playing the ball at the back. But with Botman, with the ball-playing goalkeeper like Dubravka, with Hall and others, Tonali isn't going to be by himself and trying to get the ball out the back from the back as well. So really, really good. And again, finally, saves per match. Their goalkeeper usually has to make 2 maybe saves, maybe 3 sometimes. Our goalkeeper usually has to make about 3 saves. So it's going to be a tight game. I'll be very surprised if we get 3 2s and 2 2s and stuff like that. I really anticipate that this is going to be a tight game for both teams. But let me know what you guys think so far. What's you guys' thoughts before I kind of look about in terms of a little bit more of the stats and kind of do a tactical breakdown of the teams. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Arsenal so far. I'm going to go through the comments and see what you guys are saying, what you guys are thinking. You've seen how good Arsenal are. They're a very, very good team. I know that we're in a good moment. We're a good team. We're a top team as well. Arsenal are a good team. David Veitch, Isak could easily have stepped over that Murphy pass as Gordon was on the back post. I think that's why Gordon was crying. Smiley face from David Veitch. Sophie B. Arsenal are unbeaten because all they do is pass back and sideways and time waste. Yeah, I think they got the most yellow cards for time wasting. I wonder what they feel about us now. And time waste against Brighton, they got carded for wasting time in the 26th minute. That's crazy. That is crazy. Jonathan Shaw, I think the pressure will be on Arsenal to attack, which it is. It will be. That's a very good point, actually, which is exactly how we prefer it. Yep. the dream would be to him then with a quick counter and get an early goal could really get the crowd restless. That would be the ideal scenario. I totally agree with you on that one. Aaron Kane, I really fancy us, especially in wide areas. Yeah, it would be interesting to see what happens with Lewis Hall, whether he inverts into midfield more as they don't have Nwenry or Saka. Yeah, and because they like to have that box midfield as well to dominate games, we have to make sure we don't get outnumbered in that midfield. It's going to be very, very important. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens. And that's a very good call, Aaron. Sophie B, yeah, Jonathan, I think we just outrun these we just outrun these, get a goal when they come back and break us down, same as we did against Tottenham. That would be an ideal situation. DC Havertz has been sick. Oh, he's been sick. Okay, thank you for that, DC. Appreciate you. We'll see if he's back for the game. There's a good lot of flu going around. So if they also don't have Saka now, who has basically he does. He's vital to how they play. And now even Nwenry, he scored against Brighton, is out as well. And Martinelli and Trossard, I know Martinelli has pace, he's got athleticism, but he's not in good form. He's lacking confidence a little bit. Trossard, technically great player, but he lacks the pace to trouble Livramento, in my opinion. Jonathan Shaw, so I agree with you on that, Sophie. Jonathan Shaw, agree, Sophie. We're full of confidence and energy, and it will be a huge statement if we get a result. It'll be a massive statement. Sophie B, I think if we can get a draw, we beat them in a second. And that's the thing, Arsenal know that. They know that if they come, even if they win, if it's just by a goal, St. James's Park is not the place to be. If all you got is that goal to your advantage. It's even a worse place to be if you're chasing the game and you're a goal behind. It's going to be terrible for you. Big up, Philip. Hope you're good, G. Alf, thank you, sir. I am very well. How are you doing this evening, Alf? How are you doing? DC, it depends on how Newcastle approach us. It depends on how Newcastle approach us. DC, are you an Arsenal fan? Let me know. Jonathan Shaw, ballot for Arsenal and Fulham is open now. For any members, shuts 12 tomorrow. I've got my fingers crossed. I'm going to the Moles match. Okay, Jonathan. Okay. So yeah, guys, tickets are out. Do try to get them. DC, you've played to frustrate us before. So you are Arsenal fan. Welcome to the show, DC. Welcome to the show. Hope you're enjoying it. And do feel free to correct me on anything, or just throw in your lot. It'd be good to hear from you. DC, you've played to frustrate us before. Depends if you are more attacking. All right. Well, we'll see. I tend to remember DC at St. James's Park. You guys didn't offer up much in attack. Just saying. I think the onus is on you to attack. You are at the Emirates. If you guys come away with anything less than a convincing win, which I don't think you'll get, you know what's going to happen at St. James's Park in 5 weeks' time. Even if your whole team's fit, our team's fit, if we're both going full tilt at each other, it's going to be terrible times for your team. So, you need to be attacking in this game, in my opinion. Right. So, let's look at the tactics. Make sure I share this as well. DC, Arsenal, if there's any Arsenal fans in here, do let me know what your take is on this. I'd like to know. Literally, I kind of guessed it, to be honest, for Arsenal's first team lineup. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, you guys can see. I'll try to zoom it in as much as possible. But let me get another drink of water before I break it down. And make sure you guys let me know what you guys think. Who's Newcastle's? Where are the key battles? Where are the key duels? What's got to happen? Now, for us, for Newcastle, I've gone with Longstaff. Now that Bruno is out, I think he's obviously played against Arsenal before. He's got that experience over Miley. I would have loved to see Miley, but I think Howe is going to go for the experience of Longstaff. He's played with Tonali and Joe Linton before. He's played against Arsenal before and won before, obviously at St. James's Park as well. So obviously, I think that will be key. I've put him in the 6. Mainly, I think this will happen when we're out of possession. Though I think when we're in possession, we're playing out, it'll be Tonali who'll be obviously who'll be dropping into that hole as much as possible. I've kept Botman on. Now, some people might disagree with this, and it makes sense to have Shaw back with Burn, and you got that balance back with Livramento in terms of the right foot, left foot balance. But I think, as been pointed out before, Howe doesn't like to change the backline too often. And I beginning to think that Botman's a little bit more fit than we were led to believe. Now, having Shaw back would be great. It'd be just as great. So I wouldn't mind too much. But having Botman there and, hopefully fit, strong, more confident now, obviously after a 10-month layoff, after playing against Tottenham, now playing against Arsenal, I think Howe will be tempted to keep him on. For Arsenal fans, and again, do let me know if there's any Arsenal fans. For the Arsenal team, I put Martinelli on the right as where he's injured. Odegaard comes back into the fold. Obviously, he didn't start against Brighton, which is interesting as well. Jesus is number 9, Trossard on the left. As Trossard is obviously Martinelli's moved to the right, with Jorginho, Odegaard, and Rice midfield, and a Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba. Why did I say Partey? That's not right. That's what I want to change. So I want to put Partey in the middle. I'm going to take Jorginho off, and I'm going to put, I think it's Timber. Let me know if Timber's, I don't think Timber's injured. I think he played against Brighton, I believe. He's not changed. Timber, right back, partly CDM. That's it. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate you for that. I thought that would be the case. So Timber, right back, Partey, CDM. And it's a really good midfield. Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. It's one of the midfields where, people are talking about good midfields in the league. Arsenal's, Liverpool's, previously Man City, obviously they've run out of legs now. And Newcastle, really, really good mixture of technical ability, physical athleticism, and just an edge and aggression. These teams have it. Partey is an exceptional CDM, in my opinion, with Declan Rice, who covers the ground really well. And we know all about Odegaard, his technical ability, what he gives to the team. And this is why I really wish we had Bruno. I would have liked to see them face off against each other. Obviously, I've seen that before, but I would have loved to see it in this competition anyway. Now, for Arsenal, on paper, they come across as a 4-3-3 team. But once the game starts going, they like to create their box midfield. So what you want to see, what we're likely to see happen is Timber invert, Timber or Calafiori. Depends on which side. I'm going to go for Timber because I saw Timber doing that a lot against Villa. You see Timber invert, and what Arsenal like to do is then have these. It goes into a 3-2-2. 3-2-2-1 with their wingers going off like this. This gives them a lot of structure. And you can see this box midfield. It's not just going to be in their half. It's going to be in opposition half as well. So let me just highlight it here. This box midfield here. I did it a little bit too big. This box midfield here with Partey, who's going to be really key at the base of that. So when you guys are watching the game, wherever Partey is, just in your mind, the square isn't always going to be squaring, but it's going to be like shaping and shifting like that. But let Partey always be your base point when you're kind of seeing the box midfield. They use this to be able to dominate numerically wherever they are in the field. Now, obviously, this is on their half of the pitch. They'll do this whether in the central areas and when they attack. That's what we're going to talk about. And what happens, obviously, Rice would shift up with Odegaard here, just behind Jesus. Trossard and Martinelli would be hugging the touchlines. Now, they've got really, really good centre-backs in Gabriel, Saliba, and Calafiori, and whoever else plays. I think Ben White's injured, so they can afford to have 3 centre-backs. They'll even go into 2 centre-backs with a CDM party sometimes screening the both of them because they're just so big, so athletic, so really good on the ball, and just players of real high quality. It allows Arsenal to be able to create certain overloads, and we're going to see it as well. Let me see if I put it in the next screen. I did the box in the next screen, and we're going to see it in the next screen. Oh, it's the same. Okay, it's all right. So I'll keep on here. So we're going to, and it allows them to create these type of overloads. So whether they're playing from out the back, you see Rice either in different positions really, but typically what works for them better is typically Rice doesn't really want to pick up the ball here because you don't really get any numerical advantage. You're in your own half. What they really want to be able to do, obviously I'm focusing on the left side, it'll be the same ish on the right side of Ødegaard. So if you can imagine the same thing, you see Trossard pushing up, and where Rice really wants to pick up the ball is in the opposition half, whether it's by the touchline here. So you kind of drag out. The idea is to drag Murphy out of place a little bit, start creating these type of gaps for Jesus or Partey to drop into, and allows them to kind of then be able to dominate the field that way as well. Or that's not even high enough, really. Where Rice would ideally like to pick it up is put Murphy back, is somewhere, like I said, along here. If Rice can get the ball along here, then you get these type of situations where, accept the risk, you can create 1v1s either versus Murphy, get the ball to Trossard, and again try and get into 1v1s against Livramento. The whole point is try to create numerical advantages here, and that all comes from the box midfield. But Rice has to be able to get these balls in these advanced areas to be able to hurt the opposition, and it won't just be Rice. They really rotate really well. So you might have a situation where, if I put Rice back, put Ødegaard back, put Jesus here, put Trossard, you might even get a situation where it could be anyone. It could be Partey. Partey goes out with Timber shifting over to this side, Ødegaard shifting over this side. Rice might maintain his position next to Jesus, and the ball goes out to Partey. And the idea again is for Trossard to go up, people to go up and to create this type of space. Partey obviously trying to collect the ball in the opposition half as well, to be able to create these type of overloads on the opposition. Always the idea is to try and isolate Livramento or try and isolate whoever the right back is. That is going to be the key for Arsenal. And you can see this also in the more advanced positions. Where are you? Advanced positions. It's a similar thing when they go up. So let me put Trossard back. Partey's here. Ødegaard here. Jesus here. They're really good in their possession. So let's get Arsenal up the field. Remove here. What they like to do. Jesus obviously leading the front line. Really good player. May not be the best clinical finish in the world, or he has his moments, but he's really good at dribbling, really good at creating space with his movement, even without the ball. He's very, very good at that. Again, Arsenal will try to maintain this box midfield, the 2-on-2. And this is the part where they become really dangerous. So Trossard on the left, hugging the touchline, typically Martinelli hugging the touchline, and they've got these 3 centre backs at the back. Sometimes this will turn into a 2 and they really, really want to push up and create kind of that those kind of massive overloads as well. So, and they do this, and they create these overloads from deep runs in the midfield or overlapping runs, depending on which side of the pitch it is. Now, typically, and the Arsenal fans can correct me on this as well, typically, when they have Ben White, which they don't have in this game, on the right side of the midfield, if they had a Ben White, in this case would be Timber, not Timber. So we'll get into that. I'm going a bit far. So you got this box midfield, again, now in our area. So the idea is you've got, 3 Newcastle players, not counting Isak. You've got 3 Newcastle players and 4 Arsenal players. What is there? There's a numerical advantage. And now Arsenal have got the opportunity to do one of 2 things. If Trossard gets the ball out wide, Livramento has to come and meet him. Rice goes into that space here. Overload. And Arsenal get into the box. Remember, this is why they spend more time in the box. The second team that spends more time in the box than any other, just behind Man City. Simple move, but it works very, very effectively if you're not working on it. It'll be the same thing on Ødegaard's side. If Ødegaard gets the ball here, if Martinelli gets the ball here, you got these type of overloads. Again, Lewis Hall goes out to meet him. Ødegaard drops into this area here and overloads. Either Martinelli goes out wide and cuts the ball back, or Martinelli waits for Lewis Hall to commit himself and gets the ball over to Ødegaard, who drives the ball into the box. Very simple, but very, very effective. The idea is to create these overloads. And it won't just be Ødegaard. They would shift and change. Sometimes Ødegaard will go out wide. Martinelli will fill this position here in the box. The idea is to always have this numerical advantage. And Jesus is very good at drawing players towards him as well. So and the idea is to try and force these type of gaps for folks to kind of to drive into and create absolute havoc. And even if the play does get broken down, they've got an extra screening of two CDMs, essentially, with Timber and Partey, or Partey and Calafiori, for instance. And obviously they've got the impeccable defensive 3 here, which also turns into a 2. So we'll talk about what happens when they turn into a 2. But this is what allows Arsenal to keep possession, allows Arsenal to dominate games, allows Arsenal to get a hold over its games as well. So some of these overlaps, and I don't know who they'll do it with, whether it's, I think they'll probably do it with Calafiori, in my opinion, most of the time. So they keep Gabriel and Saliba at the back here, and Calafiori will step up, which then allows either Partey, Partey who can do this, or Timber, because he drives with the ball really well. But I'll say for instance, in this case, I'll say Calafiori. Calafiori might step into Rice's role. So automatically, there's already an overload here. So if the ball goes out to Calafiori, he's got again. The idea is to create these type of overloads, like here. Botman's got a Jesus and Rice to worry about if you get the ball. Oh, let me turn this into a cursor again. Here we go. So Botman has the problem of a triangle here with Rice and Calafiori. Or even if it goes out wide, again, you've got a Rice, you've got a Calafiori, you might get a Jesus trying to get on this side. Again, the idea is to create these overloads. And depending on what side of the field there is, for instance, so how Arsenal like to create, we talked about how Arsenal like to create these overloads. So for instance, if Calafiori joins in the fun, you'll see Rice doing these inside runs. And if he's not picked up, it's going to be danger. You'll see Rice doing these inside runs, trying to get into the box. Now, typically for Newcastle, we do the kind of the overlaps, but they do it with the midfield as well, Arsenal. So you see Rice do these type of inside runs into the box midfield. And that's how they work it. When they had Ben White, and I'll be interested to see what the Arsenal fans think. When they had Ben White, say on this side, we'll put Calafiori back here. We'll say Saliba. I know it won't be Saliba doing this. No, it won't be Saliba. It'll be, say, Timber. It'll be Timber doing this. So Saliba advances. Timber goes in here. The box is always maintained. The key is the box is always maintained. You've got these 2 centre-backs, massive centre-backs, Calafiori and Gabriel. Saliba joins of Partey. Let me move it. Can I move this? No, I can't. So remove this. Saliba joins in. Why is Odegaard there? Martinelli. So what would happen then? Timber pushes up here. Odegaard now is got these joins in the front. You've got these triangles again. Saliba can get the ball either directly to Odegaard or to Timber. Again, the idea is to create overload. So even if Joe Linton gets back, they're still outnumbered by 3 players here. Martinelli obviously got the opportunity to either run on the outside or get the ball onto Timber, who can get to Odegaard, who's going to drive inside because they've created these type of overloads. But typically, what I was going to mention is when Arsenal have when they had Ben White, if Martinelli is on the ball here, he would have 2 options. So a little bit different to what happens with Trossard and Rice, where Rice likes to, like I said, run on the inside. If you pretend that Timber is Ben White, Timber will be running. Ben White will be running the outside like this. So Martinelli either has the choice to either pass it, or obviously, if the defender falls for the decoy run, Martinelli has the opportunity to. It will be Saka typically. It will be Saka mainly, but obviously Martinelli in this position have the opportunity to cut inside. They haven't got Ben White, so I don't know if they're going to get those overlapping runs. I'd love to hear from the Arsenal fans to see what they think about that. Plus, Martinelli is right-footed, so how good is he on his left foot will be interesting. So that's where the thing might break down for them. But this is what gives Arsenal this control constantly. Again, if the attack breaks down for Newcastle, they still have to get past essentially. So say again, Timber pushes up here. They still have to get past. I think it'll be probably Calafiori here, but they still have to get past a 2-man pivot, and obviously the 2 good and 2 incredible centre backs at the back here. So it works really, really well for Arsenal and helping them to kind of have possession in the midfield. So the key for Newcastle, we're going to talk about Newcastle in a moment. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to look to the comments and see what you guys are saying so far, what you guys are making of Newcastle's play, what you're making, not Newcastle's play, Arsenal's play, how they're playing, what they're doing, that box midfield, their possessions, how they create those overloads. Let me know what you guys are thinking so far, and then we'll move on to Newcastle and see what Newcastle can do and will have to do. Aaron Kane, I think Hall being deployed as an inverted fullback gives us the platform. That'll be key to build our attacks, and he has that press resistance of a Bruno supporting Tonali and Longstaff. Yep. Sophie B, I think it's crazy. The second leg is 5 weeks after. Yes. Yeah, I know it's too long because of the new Champions League format. Yeah, I agree. Though I do look forward to seeing Newcastle in the Champions League format. I think Trippier comes in instead of Livramento to offer more leadership. That would be interesting and cool. I wouldn't put it past. Shaw is banned. He is banned, so it's a choice. Is Shaw banned for this game as well? Is Shaw banned for this game as well? I thought he could come back. Interesting. Okay. DC, Timber was just 1 game away. 1 game back. Oh, sorry. Timber was just a 1-game ban. Oh, too many yellows, so he'll go right back, and so Partey goes back into midfield. Darren, makes sense. Thank you for that, DC. Appreciate you. And Anthony Allen, Timber right back, partly CDM. Appreciate you guys for that. Jonathan Shaw. I'm not sure how he's going to approach this. Botman should start. Yeah, I think so too, because he can be rested at the weekend and against Bromley, yeah. And will do him good to get the minutes. I agree. Anthony Allen, I'd play Botman in the Arsenal game and then rest him in the FA Cup game. Shaw and Kelly can then play the FA Cup game. FA Cup game. Yeah. Is Shaw banned though still? Someone confirmed to me. Is Shaw actually still banned? Shaw and Kelly can then play the FA Cup game. Oh, yeah, Shaw and Kelly can play. That's what you mean. Yeah, that makes sense. Jonathan Shaw, it all depends on what team shows up for the both sides. This could go either way. I really agree with that. But they will fear threats from our team as much as we would respect the strengths they have. I'm beginning to think this might be a cagey game. Arsenal have to come at us. Like, you guys have you guys have no choice. I'm not saying that it's a, how do I say? I'm not saying that would be necessarily a problem for you, but it could be a problem for you. The incentive is on you. Luckily for you, though, Howe isn't a defensive coach. We'll see how that plays out. So, in this situation, so going off to Newcastle again, guys, thank you for your comments. Keep sending them in. I'm learning so much from you guys, so do keep sending them in. Now, with these runs that Arsenal make, we're going to talk about these overruns, these overloads. Excuse me. Our defensive guys, and it was mentioned earlier in terms of inverting, because the only way to be able to block this, not to block, but to at least to handle this box midfield Arsenal make, is to create overloads ourselves. So we've got Partey, where is everybody? Trossard's on the right. Ødegaard's here up front. DR, Jesus, Timber inverting. That's it. So Timber inverts. So this is where they create their overloads right here. So you can see it. If you guys can see, let me make it a bit smaller. It's a little bit harder to see otherwise. Partey, Timber, Rice, and Ødegaard are going to be key in this. Quality players, and we have to be ready for them. I think this area is going to be very, very key. They're going to be trying to create these overloads, numerical advantage here, having 4 players onto our 3. So, as mentioned previously, our best defense is sort of going to have to be our offense. Obviously, Trossard is going to be trying to pin Livramento down. Jesus, the one disadvantage they have is Jesus is by himself against Burn and Botman, and so that battle is going to be Jesus isn't going to win that battle, in my opinion, unless there's some incredible individual skills. I see Joe Linton, and again, as always, what helps Newcastle a lot is Joe Linton falls into our back line. So what you see, instead of a 4-3-3, you see Newcastle fall into kind of a 5-4-1 situation. So if Ødegaard's making runs into the box, you have Joe Linton being able to be there. If the attack's on the left side, for instance, you'll have Joe Linton following Ødegaard. So Lewis Hall could go out to meet Martinelli when he gets the ball here. And this is what happened in the previous game. And this is what I think DC mentioned about being frustrated. And it all depends on the work rate here. If I take off this, so obviously we've seen where the box midfield is. Say Arsenal attack from the left side, from the right side, where I think Martinelli will be. You got these type of situations here. Hall won't be isolated by himself. The key again will have to be Gordon to come back, Joe Linton to fill this space here. Now, obviously, this hurts our attack. So if we recycle the ball, it's gonna hurt us a little bit. But you can't let Hall be isolated between Ødegaard, who's going to be floating about here, Timber, for instance. I think if he'll play like this, and possibly even more if we're not careful. You can't let Hall be isolated. And this is what Arsenal kind of force you to do because of the way they play. So Gordon and Joe Linton are going to have to frustrate Arsenal in terms of help in terms of holding them back. Now, I don't know if Kai Havertz is fit and healthy. I think he adds a little bit more threat than a Jesus in terms, not threat, presence than Jesus. So I'll be interested to see what Arteta goes for. I personally will go for Jesus, but he'll have the option of taking Havertz off the bench. We'll see what he does. The advantage always we have is in having Botman and Burn. Jesus is going to find it very difficult. So it's incumbent upon Arsenal to push forward. But Joe Linton and Gordon are going to be very key in terms of ensuring that Hall isn't isolated and kind of in these type of 1v1 situations. So even if Martinelli gets to the byline here, you'd have Joe Linton watching these runs, hopefully, from Ødegaard and making sure that he doesn't get the first cutback, for instance. And even if it gets past Ødegaard, obviously Burn and Botman are going to be here to sweep it up. At this point, obviously, this is the kind of situation this is where Newcastle do that Arsenal don't like to do so much, is we go very, very direct. So even if Arsenal commit man forward, it might be a Rice. Obviously, you've got Rice, Jesus, Ødegaard in these positions. I imagine Partey won't be too far up, but you'd have maybe Trossard trying to get into the box. You leave a situation where I'm sure Longstaff will be here as well. Livramento might be watching the ball. With our ball playing centre-backs, if it gets to a Burn, or what, for instance, you now got the situation where we can catch them on the counter, essentially. A ball can either go out straight to Longstaff, we can get it to Tonali, or literally a direct ball to a Murphy to switch it up. I think Tonali would be obviously as well. And because of the ability of our players to be able to run and to advance, you can get yourself now, because this is where Arsenal are really good. You do have players. You do have really good players, whether you've got 2 centre-backs or 3 centre-backs who will be along those lines and trying to hold. But we've got pace as well, so we can hurt you in the transitions, and we have to work it really well. Isak's going to be crucial to that and seeing that happen. So I think the idea is to try and get you in these free versus free situations as well, and see how that works. Or obviously as well, kind of how we do it generally sometimes as well. The better part of it is if we don't go direct. If we play the ball out, which we do very well as well, Joe Linton can get onto the ball. Timber has to be sharp as well, because Joe Linton can run with the ball. That'll be the key. Joe Linton can run with the ball and draw more Arsenal players towards him. A Partey, a Timber. It opens up the situation where you can have a 3 versus 3. And Gordon obviously following up on the back as well. So Arsenal, because of their overloads, they do commit men forward, which allows these sort of, I think Aaron Kane mentioned it, where it allows this kind of space to be created for Newcastle to hit the flanks. And this kind of what happened when we scored against you guys in the previous game, where obviously Gordon hit that first time cross onto Isak's head, and where I think we kind of were able to hurt you on the overload as well. And one weakness I think Arsenal have is, say for instance on Trossard's side, I don't know how good Trossard's recovery runs are. I don't imagine they're great. I know Partey's not too bad, but he's not exactly Rice. The best person with your recovery runs is Rice. So Rice is going to be after key. He's going to be key in trying to create these overloads. But if your attack breaks down, you've essentially got 2 players here in Trossard, Partey, who don't have the greatest recovery pace. So I think that's how you can get hurt. Obviously, you've got Califiore and Saliba and Gabriel and others. But I think that's where the key parts of the game would be as well. So I think you'll see Newcastle doing a lot more if the Arsenal attacks break down. You might see quick 1-2 passes as well. Try and get Gordon on the flank here to stretch the play. Ideally, especially on this left side, Gabriel, Saliba have to go out and meet him and switch as well. Isak might join in the fun, but the idea again is to cause these type of gaps for Arsenal on that right side. So even if we're playing heavily on this left side, if we can shift your defense to the right side, where Trossard and I think maybe Partey aren't the quickest, to leave Murphy on by himself, maybe Livramento joins in as well, it could really, really hurt Arsenal, in my opinion. We'll see how that goes. So I think that's how Newcastle can really hurt you guys in the transition. We'll miss Bruno, who's very, very good at these as well, but that'll be key. Now, before I go on to how Newcastle can, obviously, I think the other way is from the pressing. Let me see what you guys, if there's any more comments as well, especially from the Arsenal guy or from everyone. But I'll be really interested to see what the Arsenal guys think as well. Let me see what you guys say, then we'll do a conclusion and predictions. for the game. DC, yes, yes. Why would offer a lot of over and underlapping? Yeah. Oh, good. Timber, whilst he doesn't do it to the same degree, also offers this. Okay, so Timber will be doing that as well. So he'll be leaving that left flank exposed if he does that, or left to our side, because that's where Gordon, Lewis Hall, Isak will join in as well. Will be so. If I was Timber, I hope he knows when to do these runs. Sophie, yes, he is. I don't know if maybe that's somebody else. Yes, Shaw suspended for this game. Thanks, Aaron, for confirming that. So I think Botman's more likely to play. Jonathan Shaw, that's me out, Philip. Work tomorrow. Canny show, mate. Thank you, sir. Good to see you and appreciate you. Get yourself some rest, and I hope you have a great work day tomorrow at work and in whatever else you do. Sophie B. Erdegaard looked a bit off the pace against Brighton. Was he sick or carrying an injury? That is a good question. That is a good question. And finally, Hunter, Trips defo starts. He's very good at the inverting part. And in terms of getting the ball out, you could see him. But where I think Livramento might come in is his ability to carry the ball. And it's going to be key here. We talked about it where, yes, if Trippier plays, for instance, now end it on before I go into the our pressing game. If Trippier plays instead of Livramento, instead of carrying the ball, because he's not really going to do that much, you're probably going to see these type of balls just straight into the channels, which will be effective as well. But if Arsenal, which I anticipate Arsenal, they'll have their lines sorted, and this could easily be scooped up. With a Livramento, because of his ball playing ability, in my opinion, he's going to draw players to him. So Rice has to go back and recover if he can get back up Livramento. Partey has to go out and meet him, and possibly even Calafiori. Calafiori, if he gets if Partey's not busy here, Calafiori then might have a choice of, do I stick with a Murphy or do I have to go for Livramento, because maybe Rice is too far back, maybe Trossard's too far back, Partey's too far back, and you get these type of situations when they're isolated. So then you've got Isak, say for instance, even Tonali's still there, kind of looking at Partey. You've got Isak and Gordon here, and you've got Murphy. Calafiori knows what's going to happen. If he doesn't get this tackle right with Livramento, Livramento will either get past him or get the ball to Murphy. Then you split up the Arsenal defense, and this is where everybody's going to have problems. So I think by having Livramento, you got someone who can take the ball on, who can dribble a little bit as well, and I think that's why he might favour him. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Trippier if he wants to vary the attack a little bit more. Maybe he does that even in the second half. The other way is, and before I close off the show, obviously, is the press itself to stop Arsenal from doing the I don't know if you can stop them from doing the box midfield necessarily, but if Eddie Howe's best form of defense is usually his attack. So if we get them back in a 4-3-3 when they start, I know they don't play in a 4-3-3, it goes into a 4-2-2, but if they were to start, obviously you got Trossard here, Timber, I keep putting Partey right back. I think it's because of the Brighton game. Rice, Jesus, Erdegaard, Rice and Erdegaard in the 8s, Martinelli on the wing. So Newcastle, Isak, press, Gordon, Tonali. You'll see these type of situations. So you'll see, ideally, Newcastle doing their own version, their own press as well. Pushing up. Botman. So say, for instance, we'll go on the left side. On the right side, excuse me. Livramento, and this is and again, Trippier is very good at this as well. You see Livramento pushing up, again, forcing Trossard to have to come and support Calafiori. Even Rice as well would have to be there as well. Otherwise, they risk being overrun. This is our version of things as well. And what happens as well, which is really key for us, our way of creating overloads is a little bit different to Arsenal's, where you'll see, where are you? Here we go. You see Livramento pushing up here, right up to Trossard is here, right up to Calafiori. So Trossard has to come back. Right up to Calafiori. You see Longstaff coming up here as well. And you'll see Murphy tucking in, either tucking in or going on the outside into the space here. Botman, Burn. We usually like to keep three at the back. So you see a Botman, Burn, and Hall. Or if we go on the left side, you'll see Livramento, Botman, and Burn situation. Tonali pushing up against what's his name? Erdegaard, Isak, Joe Linton. Now, Joe Linton's role will be interesting as well. So Joe Linton and Gordon have different ways. So it's either they'll swap between themselves, or you see them in the number 8. You see Joe Linton pushing up against Partey, Tonali against Erdegaard, and you see these type of situations forming. You got obviously Jesus, and Newcastle might really fancy themselves. If Jesus plays, I know he's got pace-ish, but they might just say, you know what, Burn and Botman can take care of things. Let Lewis Hall join in the fun as well. Again, Martinelli has to already support, so you might get a situation where Hall pushes in anyway. Hall pushes up front as well, and you'll see Gordon in the centre as well. Again, forcing Martinelli, forcing the Arsenal players to come back, because Botman and Burn can take over Jesus as well. So the best form of defence for Newcastle will be to attack and to provide their own sort of press as well. And obviously Newcastle are really good on the flanks. Livramento on the ball here. I provide cutbacks. Longstaff is going to be key to kind of making sure he gets in front of Rice, either to play 1-2s, to play into Isak. But I think, as mentioned earlier, the key is going to be on the left side. And that's going to be Hall, Gordon, Joe Linton. And I think you might see even Tonali joining on that side as well. I think that's where we might get our most joy. Well, it depends, actually. It depends. It depends how the game pans out. But if I end it on this, Lewis Hall pushing up. You'll see Gordon going a little bit centrally, or Joe Linton either providing an outlet here, with Gordon doing Lewis Hall doing underlaps or overlaps, and Gordon, you get these type of triangles being created here, as you guys would have seen against Tottenham, and kind of hopefully creating these type of situations here. Erdegaard has to come back and defend as well. So it's going to be key here. Timber, Martinelli, Erdegaard against Hall, Joe Linton, and Gordon, kind of create these type of overlaps as well and overloads. Gordon loves to be in the central area as well. So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be tight. Defensively, Newcastle, Arsenal are really good. So are Newcastle as well. I'll be really, really keen to see how this match pans out. But we've got to the end of the show. I'm going to do a conclusion and prediction. Guys, send in your predictions. How do you think this game will end? Let me take this down. I've noticed I've been looking downwards a lot, which is not good. Let me read your comments. Send in your predictions, and I'll give you guys my prediction right at the end of this game as well. DC, the counterattacks is where I'm concerned. We would get hurt. Yeah, it's a real possibility. Isak is quality. We should take him off your hands in the summer window. I think. We're also thinking about getting Saka, so we might take him off your hands as well. We'll see how that works. Aaron Kane for DC. You can't afford him, mate. Hands off. Hunter, not sure if you'd agree, but Calafiori has poor pace and struggles to defend the channels. That might be a place where Newcastle head to. That'll be, Murphy's been exceptional for us in that right. Sophie B, I don't think Isak will ever go to Arsenal, to be honest, especially if we get Champions League, and in my opinion, he goes abroad if we do sell. Invariably, would these conversations go to Isak? This also, Sophie B, this is also a reason I believe Trips will play and we utilize the left-hand side for the attacks. For the quick passes. Yeah, that could happen. That could definitely happen. Guys, send in your predictions. Got Sophie B here with a 2-1 prediction. All right, so I'm gonna give mine. Arsenal are an exceptional team, both defensively and offensively. And I know they get, if you listen to a lot of streamers in terms of a lot of people saying about Arsenal's attack and everything else and set pieces, I think it's just all banter. And when you kind of break down their numbers, break down what they do, their tactics as well, they're really an exceptional side. Like I said, they're the second team that spends the most time in opposition boxes. I didn't even show you guys the territorial map. I wanted to show you guys the territorial map, which is interesting for Arsenal before I do this. The one bit where we could hurt them actually, and maybe this is something Arsenal fans can explain. Let me share this. I was going to lock off the show, but then let me see this. I wanted to first show this because I know they spend a lot of time in opposition halves, but can you guys see this? Yeah, you can. There's a territorial map on Opta Stat. So this map shows where teams spend a lot of their time when they play. So this is Arsenal. So for you guys that haven't seen this before, this is from left to right. So the purple parts are where you have at least 55% or more of total touches on the pitch. So where you have the most territorial dominion. The pink parts are where the opposition have the most touches, and the grey parts are where it's 50-50, where it's pretty indecisive. If you look at Arsenal, obviously, they really dominate those central areas and a little bit on the flanks as well, but especially those central areas because, again, that box midfield is what affords them to do that. But where they don't seem to be getting, and I know they're second highest in the position about this, and I don't know if it's a recent thing, they don't get much joy in the opposition boxes. They don't spend too much time in the opposition boxes. And what's beginning to happen on their side, on their right side, I can't remember who mentioned it, around Calafiori, is the opposition are beginning, where is it? In the central area, the central areas of Arsenal's box in the left side, the left side on Timber side. Is that Timber side? On the right side? The opposition are beginning to get a foothold into Arsenal's box, especially if they play direct, I think, as well, in my opinion. Newcastle, obviously, our territorial map has been changing a lot as well. We've improved a lot in terms of defending our box, obviously, from left to right here. And if you can see the opposition, when we're against opposition, especially on the flanks, on the right and left side flank, Gordon, Murphy, behind them, Tonali, Bruno, we've been getting a lot of joy dominating the oppositions on their flanks, and especially outside the box as well. So I'll be very curious to see how Arsenal deal with Newcastle's quick attacks and our press as well. So that adds into it. I had to add that. I also want to add as well, Arsenal got the highest or third highest in terms of scoring goals from outside the box as well. So creatively, Arsenal are a very, very good team. That box midfield, their ability on the ball, really quality players. And Emirates is really their fortress, so I don't doubt them. Newcastle come in with a lot of momentum. 5 games won in the Premier League on the trot, and convincingly. And one, obviously, a 6th game. The other game was a League Cup game against Brentford. So we come with a lot of momentum. Things are beginning to click. And there's a maturity about what we're doing. There's an emphasis on Arsenal to attack this game as well. And I don't know what it is in terms of recently for Arsenal, if they're hesitating a little bit in front of goal, or maybe not. They're still scoring goals, but how do you, maybe there's a little bit of against Brighton, there was a little bit of hesitancy, a little bit of doubt, or maybe just the luck of the draw. I don't know. But I think it's going to be a very, 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 very tight game. I think Newcastle can win this game 2-1. I think, like Sophie said there, I think we've got and that's mainly because we've got the deadliest strikers, even though you probably got the better central defenders between the two of us. I think if Botman plays, he makes a difference for us, whether you guys play Kai Havertz or Jesus or not. If we can really keep those guys under wraps, I think it will hurt how you guys try to create those overloads. You're going to be very dependent on Rice to do that as well. And I think you're having to fit square pegs and round holes a little bit. So Timber isn't as good as Ben White in those overlaps. Martinelli is nowhere near as good as Saka on the right, for instance. Trossard doesn't have the athleticism of a Martinelli on the left. So all those ways you're going to try and score and win is going to be very, very difficult, I think. Though I don't doubt that you can do it. It's going to be a very tight and a very cagey game. But I back Newcastle United to win it 2-1. 2-1 to Newcastle. Let me see what you guys are saying before I wrap up the show. Let me know what your thoughts are, Aaron Kemp. I'm predicting a 1-0 win. Sophie B also 2-1. DC 2-1 Arsenal. Okay, yes, 2-1 Arsenal, but wouldn't be totally shocked with a 1-1 draw, depending on how Newcastle approach the game and how Arsenal have been of late with the current injuries. Yeah, that's affecting you. We've got injuries too. And so, we've got suspensions and injuries. So we'll see. We haven't got Bruno, and you guys haven't got Saka, so that even things out a little bit. DC is Erdegaard ill or carrying an injury. He looked a bit off pace. From Sophie B there, DC, my opinion would be the map highlights the product of teams playing the low block and us being outside the box trying to penetrate it. Okay, that could be a factor. I don't know. Was it? I don't think Brighton were playing a low block against you, but maybe you had a lot of touches in their box. I haven't seen the stats to it. But that could be it. That could be it for you. But then you still have to score, essentially. And Newcastle have been getting better and better at scoring in low blocks as well. Because if we go 1-0 up in this game, we're going to defend and we're going to hit you on the breaks. We're going to really, really hurt you. So we'll see. We'll see. And finally, Aaron Kempf, I anticipate a Botman long ball into the channel, Murphy to Isak. Oh, beautiful. That's a beautiful goal. Folks, we've spent, for you guys have been here from the beginning to the end. So many of you, Hunter, Aaron, Sophie B, DC. We've done a match review of the Tottenham game. We saw Kaz from his video from Never a Foul talking about Newcastle, how well we've been doing. It's really good to see, get outsider's perspective on Newcastle. Went through some of the stats and reviews of the Tottenham game, how we won and how we deserve to win, in my opinion, and how there's a possibility that Newcastle's game is evolving where we will press, we'll have a coordinated press, we'll go 100 miles an hour, but then we'll also have the ability to defend as well and hold our leads that way. And kind of rest a little bit and reserve our energy, which is evolving our play. Incredible. And obviously, we did a tactical breakdown for the Arsenal game, and we've had a few Arsenal fans in here in DC as well. Really, really good to have you guys add in your parts as well to this discussion as well. Really, really appreciate you guys. Please do come back on as well. Hopefully, as well for the second time for the League Cup game as well. That'd be really good to have you guys. I've given you guys my conclusion in the game. I think Newcastle, a top tip Newcastle who defend well. We've got slight edge in the attacking parts, and I think there's certain personal jewels. The Memento Trossard on the left side as well. Gordon, Joe Linton, Hall against Martinelli and Erdegaard. I think we can find ways to beat Arsenal at the Emirates, and I've backed us to win 2-1. But you guys, make sure you guys have a great evening and great night. Whatever you're doing tomorrow, whether you're on holiday, whether you're on a break, whether you're working, or whatever you're doing, make sure you look after each other. Make sure you have a great day. And as always, folks, take care of each other, and God bless, folks.